Ladies and gentlemen, welcome into this week's Best Ball Draft, and we're going to be doing it like we normally do through Underdog Fantasy. There is no better platform in the entire neighborhood, in the entire state, the planet, the universe, the country, whichever atmosphere you want to go to, than Underdog Fantasy. We're going to be drafting a best ball 18 rounds right now, 30 seconds per pick. This is my third one, $25 buy-in. It's a big old $1 million in one. $1 million in one. $1 million and then an extra dollar on top. $1,001 to first place. Let's fucking win this thing. And if you want to try and win this thing, come ahead. Come ahead. Draft with me. There's a link in the description below. But let's kick it off. Best Ball Mania number 2. Let's get it. Alrighty, so we land in the Best Ball Mania, and I am the 4th overall pick right now. First time that I did this is the second mock draft we're doing. It's not even a mock draft. We actually got the Dollaruskis in play right now, so legitimate trying to win $1 million. So we got to buckle up. Got our rankings up on the other side. First time I did this, we ended up being the number 2 pick. We got Saquon, a nice giant stack. I went 3 running backs in a row that time. The board just kind of fell to me that way. I got Saquon, I got Clyde Edwards-Helaire, second-year player with Kansas City, guy who was banged up last year and still goes for 1,100 total yards, right? Still has a lot of upside in my opinion. And then Najee Harris, who I'm not as high on in Dynasty as, say, a Travis Etienne, but in season long this year, no competition. We already did that video for the top rookie running backs. Najee Harris, absolutely no competition. Benny Snell and Anthony McFarland, who was fine, right? More of a scatterbug, though, more of a change of pace guy. So the draft has now started. Again, I went 3 running backs in a row. You can see above me where guys are being taken. I can zoom in on that. If it falls my way, I'll do that again. But I expect to draft probably 70 to 100 of these Best Ball Mania lineups. So I don't want them all to have just 3 running backs in a row and be built the same, because if it turns out that a second-round wide receiver or third-round wide receiver is the way to go, it's going to be tough to get away from. So McCaffrey and Dalvin Cook go 1-2. I assume the next pick is going to be Saquon. And if that's the case, I'm put in a weird situation of I do have Derrick Henry as one of the top ranked running backs, and Saquon goes, but I'm not too sold on Derrick Henry, to be completely honest with you. I'm not too sold on him. So my top 3 running backs in a tier of their own are McCaffrey, Saquon, and Cook in that order. They all go. My number 4 overall running back is actually Aaron Jones, who comes off the board on average at ADP pick number 11. So I think this is potentially a way for us to get a different lineup construction early on. I'm going to go Aaron Jones with the 4th overall pick. So I'm drafting off of my tiers. My ranks, they're to the right of me. If you want to check them out, you can check them out on the draft guide. Aaron Jones is my number 4 overall running back. I get it. You might like Derrick Henry's full workload. There are some concerns for injuries for Derrick Henry. There are some concerns for somewhat of a changing offense, potentially with new offensive coordinators coming in. So that's where I'm at right now in Derrick Henry. He is my number 5 overall running back, but it's a tier break. So I just had those top 3 running backs in tier 1. They're all in the same tier. Derrick Henry now goes. So this is kind of going as my rankings are having it. Number 6 for me is actually Zeke, and Alvin Kamara goes. I have early on right now, and again, this video is being recorded in the beginning of May or mid-May now. I have early on right now Alvin Kamara as my running back 9. Which is a pretty big drop, right? We have to keep in mind last year, Latavius Murray got a lot of work, and he continues to when they get up big in games. And if they're going to be having Taysom Hill back there, he's going to be taking away goal line touchdowns, which is something that he's already due to regress on Kamara based on his second half of the season last year. Austin Eckler, an interesting option there. I don't agree with that at all. Austin Eckler goes at the 7th overall pick. I have Austin Eckler as my 19th overall running back. Nowhere close to even being in a top conversation for me. Kelsey goes. I understand the need for Kelsey. Last year, the winning lineup had Darren Waller in it. I believe one of them also had Kelsey, one of the high-up winning lineups. So I understand the need to go there. You see Tyreek Hill go as the first wide receiver off the board. Now you can see some names starting to fly off the board right here. A lot of running backs going, and that should be expected right now. Tyreek Hill going, I assume, is an effort for Jared, who's in this draft at the 9th overall pick, to try and snag Mahomes probably in the 2nd round. But with Mia's dad taking Kelsey at 1.8, Mia's dad's now going to get blocked from getting the stack with Mahomes, because it seems like Jared on the turnaround is going to have the pick right ahead of him, likely going to be able to snipe him. Zeke goes at the 112. Zeke is my overall 6th running back and 6th play off the board. My first 7 plays off the board are running backs right now. You see Mixon go at the 2-1. I think that's a good spot to be getting Mixon. You actually see Cam Akers and Jonathan Taylor, my top of my tier 3 in running backs, 10 and 11 overall. Akers and Taylor in that order, they start to go. And now we're going pretty quickly through the clock, as I am now the next one up. 30-second clock, so it's hard to keep up with everything that's going. Wow, Najee Harris goes at the 2-6. So Najee Harris goes at the 2-6. Nick Chubb's off the board right now. Antonio Gibson ends up going off the board. Devontae Adams goes off the board, not as late as some last drafts, but at the 2-4 for Adams. He's still my wide receiver 1. I don't believe that the Aaron Rodgers news is real until I actually see it happen. So now let's see what's happening here. I'm going to go wide receiver or tight end. I don't think I need to take anybody. Darren Waller already went off the board. Wide receivers and running backs that are left right now: Justin Jefferson, DeAndre Swift, Clyde Edwards-Helaire, DK Metcalf, Calvin Ridley, which if Julio gets traded, there's something to Calvin Ridley in the second round. Maybe we can scoop him in the third round. I'm going to go ahead and get myself Clyde Edwards-Helaire here. I got Clyde Edwards-Helaire in the second round last time out. So again, I'm going to do 70 to 100 of these drafts. So I do think that I'll be able to be fine with that one. AJ Brown, I know there's a lot of hype around AJ Brown. I have him as my wide receiver 7 early on. I understand the hype. He goes off the board, I believe, is the third wide receiver. Fourth wide receiver behind Diggs, Adams, and Tyreek Hill. So it seems like we're all caught up right now. My top 14 running backs and now my top 15 running backs with Clyde Edwards-Helaire are off the board. So they go very quickly, as you can see, as compared to just being like top 5 wide receivers off the board. Jefferson, my wide receiver 9, goes off the board. DK, my wide receiver 8, goes off the board. So my best availables right now, and George Kittle, so top tight ends are gone now. My best availables right now are going to be Calvin Ridley and Julio Jones. The problem with Julio, though, is there's a chance he could be traded. There's some murmurs there. So I'm going to be looking to get Calvin Ridley, and he goes 2 spots before me, so that's kind of brutal for me right there. So Calvin Ridley's gone. Julio, Keenan Allen, Allen Robinson, Terry McLaurin. Some of my top options left if I wanted to go wide receiver here. If we want to look at what's available at tight end, we do have Darren Waller, who, again, getting a top-end tight end. Darren Waller kind of ends the tier for me. It goes Kelsey, Waller, and Kittle in that order as top-end tight ends, and Darren Waller just goes, and then Keenan Allen goes. So now we're on the clock. Julio is still on the board. The problem with Julio is you're taking a pretty massive risk, right? So my top 2 tiers of tight ends are now gone. Wide receiver I'm looking at, Julio, Allen Robinson, Terry McLaurin. At running backs, I got 15 seconds here. Montgomery, Swift are some guys I have ranked highly. Chris Carson. I'm going to end up going ahead, and let's go wide receiver here. Let's go to Allen Robinson. So I'll take Allen Robinson ahead of Julio Jones. It's kind of going against my tiers, so maybe I'll have to adjust that. I'll take Allen Robinson there. We had running backs left on the board. I have a similar build with Clyde Edwards-Helaire, Aaron Jones, and Montgomery, I believe, already in this Best Ball Mania. So I'll try and get a little bit differentiated by going wide receiver in the third round. The problem with doing this, though, is you get a pretty stark. You'll get a really quick drop-off, just absolute drop-off in wide receivers or in running backs. So I'm 16 picks away. You can see right now we got Aaron Jones, we got Clyde Edwards-Helaire, and then wide receiver, if I pull up the mini box here, Allen Robinson. That's going to end up being the issue, is who's actually left when my next turn comes in 15 picks at running back. Can I actually make it to having a Myles Gaskin or Mike Davis currently look like the lead backs, made it out of the NFL draft and free agency with nothing major added? Jared Dokes added behind Myles Gaskin. That's more so probably going to push backups back there. And for Mike Davis, absolutely nobody being added. Javian Hawkins was a free agent that was picked up. He's like 180-pound scat back, maybe takes away some passing work. Running backs are starting to go now, which is somewhat of a concern. Taking 3 running backs in a row really does seem to be a solid strategy, because my goal is to take at most 5 running backs, 4 to 5 running backs in these best ball drafts. That hyper-fragile approach, if you will, because if they get hurt, it really can hurt you, is I think the way to go about it. So it's going to be interesting to see, because maybe that was a mistake taking Robinson there over the value at the running back left. I was looking to take Montgomery, who was my best available. By far my best available running back. The only guy left in my top 20 right now is Chris Carson. J.K. Dobbins goes. So if we can get Gaskin, Davis, or Carson to make it to us, and Carson just goes, if we can get Gaskin or Davis to make it to us, and we're 11 picks away, it's going to be tough, especially because a lot of guys already picking have 2 running backs. We'll see if they go with 3 in a row. I assume some guys are going to be starting to take wide receivers, like we see right here with back-to-back wide receivers going. Julio's still on the board, though. The trade rumors are legit right now, soaking, and not even soaking, draining the upside of Julio Jones right now. Julio is my best available wide receiver, but the trade rumors dropping him down pretty far as we're into the 4th round and Julio's still on the clock. So, I mean, maybe I'm going to try and go running back here if they make it to us. A massive stretch of wide receivers, and here's a strategy for you. We have now a wide receiver that we can pair with Justin Fields and Allen Robinson. So always be thinking about where you can go with stacks. Obviously, some running backs, Aaron Rodgers, if we wanted to go there and take the risk on potential trades. But you now have 6 wide receivers going in a row. So it's 6 wide receivers going in a row. There's no way I'm taking, and Patrick Mahomes finally goes. Jared gets to stack Patrick Mahomes in the 4th. So he gets Patrick Mahomes in the 4th to stack up with, I believe he took Tyreek. So Jared does the right thing. He kind of changes the buck there. Julio finally goes. When you see 6 wide receivers go in a row, you can't be the 7th guy to take a wide receiver. You know you're getting the worst value in that range of the wide receivers that are on the board. So you pivot somewhere else. So even if I needed a wide receiver, I just know that I just lost out on like the best 7 available, unless you have somebody ranked higher, which DJ Moore is my closest to that right now. So I would have gone ahead and snagged myself somebody else there, a different position. I've now locked myself into if I want to take a Gaskin or a Mike Davis at the end of the 4th round here. I think I'm going to secure one of those guys. Kenny Golladay, best wide receiver left on the board. Tight end I'm not touching until the end. Once those top 3 go off the board, I have it as Travis Kelce and Kittle in tier 1, or I have it Travis Kelce and Waller in tier 1. Tier 2 for me is just straight up Kittle by himself. That's it. And then tier 3 starts a bunch of guys that I don't really want. TJ Hawkinson, Mark Andrews, Mike Gesicki, and it's too early to take them anyways. Quarterbacks at the 4th round could start to take some here. Josh Jacobs goes. I think that's not a terrible pick, but I've got between Myles Gaskin and Mike Davis now. There's a lot less competition for both. There's not much competition for either of these guys. I think there's actually less for Mike Davis. Gaskin's going a little bit higher. I'll take Gaskin here. I think he's got obviously good pass catching chops. When he was healthy last year, he finished the season with, I believe it was 4 of his last 5 games with 18 or more fantasy points when healthy. Mike Davis goes right after him. So now I think that we're absolutely gone on these workhorse type running backs unless you think Chase Edmonds is going to really pull away from James Conner, which I personally do not. So I've got 3 running backs. Maybe I could pick up a Tony Pollard later on. Somebody along those lines who can be a backup with some upside. Maybe a Chuba Hubbard if Christian McCaffrey goes down and he ends up being the actual backup there. So now we can see who's left on the board. Start to think about maybe getting some stacks in. The Cards, CeeDee Lamb, and Amari are gone, so trying to take Dak here might not be the best overall upside. Wow, Tyler Lockett goes really early right there. I don't have Lockett until my wide receiver 24, so he goes, and maybe not really early, but somewhat early. Robert Woods is an interesting one. They have a new offense out there, of course. Interesting to see what happens with Matt Stafford. They go in, they get Deshaun Jackson, also get Tutu Atwell, kind of similar players in the draft. Clearly want to be passing a little bit more this year. Kyle Pitts goes. I've always been curious on where he's going to go before others. He's my tight end 8. A lot of people want to automatically rank him a tight end 5. I think there's only been one ever tight end 5 in fantasy in their first year. Obviously goes to the perfect spot, and if Julio's out, even better. Not really many threats in that passing game if Julio goes away. Outside of just Ridley, Gage, I don't think it's going to be pushing too much. So we're a pick away. Lamar Jackson now goes. He's my quarterback 3. My quarterback 2 is Dak. I can take Dak here. I can go to Kenny Golladay, who's lasted on the board right now. I don't think that's a terrible idea either here in the 5th round to take a Kenny Golladay. I took him in the 4th round in the previous draft. Or we can go to Dak and try and get one of these studs. I'm going to go Kenny Golladay here. He just fell to me. He's by far my best available. Kenny Golladay is my wide receiver 17. Other than that, I only have one guy two guys inside my top 25 left. 25 is Cortland Sutton. 23 is Deontay. These numbers that I'm referencing and these guys that I'm referencing are on my draft guide. So just the rankings, the tiers, top 200s this year. Last year was top 150s. Now it's top 200, which gets you through, I think, 16 rounds of your draft. I might even add it to top 250 as the season gets closer. Again, right now we're on May 12th as I record this one. So we can kind of start to look at a little bit of what the team is doing right now. So I just drafted in the 5th round. I'm very surprised and happy that I got Kenny Golladay there. The wide receiver 1, 27 years old still, has some upside. It's just a matter of can Daniel Jones not be one of the bottom 5 quarterbacks in the league and fumble every single time, averaging over a fumble per start he has, which is brutal. So Aaron Jones, Clyde Edwards-Helaire, Myles Gaskin, a lot of guys who are pretty similar, not only in size, being all these guys right around the 200-pound mark. Jones putting on a couple more pounds over the last 2 years, around 210, 215. Not only in size, but how they'll get you there, mainly in the passing game. That's what I want to have, pass-catching ability. And Allen Robinson and Kenny Golladay, guys who were going in the 2nd and 3rd round last year, I get them respectively in the 3rd round, Allen Robinson, and then the 5th round, Kenny Golladay, which is clearly a wide receiver changing teams, but going into that offense is the wide receiver 1, the clear red zone target right now. We like Kenny Golladay, assuming that he can be healthy. Got him at pick 52, took him 3 picks before ADP, but that's fine because he wouldn't have been there. So I'm now set with two wide receivers that I can actually stack decently with. So I believe that there's some nice opportunities to stack with these guys. I'm setting myself up to have quarterbacks of either Daniel Jones, which I actually have a nice stack of that already, or Justin Fields, which aren't the most secure guys. But obviously we can stack with guys we get later on, or we can stack with the likes of Tua, Myles Gaskin, Aaron Rodgers, Aaron Jones, which is a little bit of a risk, but you're going to be getting good value on Aaron Jones right now because everybody and them other thinks that he's automatically not going to be leaving when the reports that we got weren't real reports. Adam Schefter walked them back and said there was no source on them. It's just what he's been seeing and trying to visualize and seeing on it. So it's just like any other beat writer, but since Adam Schefter took the liberty to say that this is what he thinks is going to happen or what he thinks is happening, there's a little bit of a contract dispute here. It blew up a little bit more, and it was on draft day during a slow media push. So, yeah, I think it blew up a little bit more than it actually has any type of legs behind it. So getting an Aaron Rodgers wouldn't be a terrible idea because then those later wide receivers like Amari Rodgers I can take with my 17th or 18th pick. MVS and Allen Lazard are getting undrafted in a lot of these best ball formats. So that actually leaves you a little bit of upside. And Aaron Jones, Amari Rodgers, Aaron Rodgers type of stack is fantastic. Obviously, if Rodgers on June 1st, they have the ability to trade him a little bit easier contract-wise. If they say, yeah, we don't want you anymore, well, then, yeah, some things can get a little bit wonky. So let's see. We're getting some tight ends in TJ Hawkinson. Again, I don't have any interest right now in tight ends. Hawkinson and Andrews go off the board. Odell, who is my best available wide receiver, actually my wide receiver 19, he falls pretty far. So he was still on the board there. We're really soaked up on running backs. I'll probably pick a late one later on, shoot for an upside guy. Maybe even like a Michael Carter will be on the board by the time I'm coming around because now you're looking at guys like Javonte Williams, who's outside my top 35, just not guys that I really want to be even considering drafting personally. Michael Gallup, T. Higgins. T. Higgins is a solid option. Cortland Sutton's still on the board here. I would not be against going to Cortland Sutton, but then you're stacking yourself potentially with like a Drew Lock or having to make that decision. We're a couple picks away. If Cortland Sutton stays on the clock, I'm going to take a third wide receiver, which I'm completely fine doing. Cortland Sutton is the best available right now on the wide receivers board right here, as you can see. He is by far my best available. He's my wide receiver 25, and I believe we've already had 30 wide receivers go off the board. So Chase Claypool goes, Kyler Murray goes. It was kind of late for Kyler Murray to go at the end of the 6th. That's a really good spot to get Kyler Murray. If Jalen Hurts is there in the 7th, I might have to scoop him. So Claypool goes, and we're one pick away. Can we get Cortland Sutton to fall to us? By far my best available left at any position right now. At running backs, I'm looking at Chase Edmonds, Melvin Gordon, Leonard Fournette, Zach Moss. Much rather have Cortland Sutton. Yes, coming off of an injury, but a young player, an injury that is just very easy to come back from these days. Terrible quarterback play, but kind of a mini Allen Robinson in his first 2 seasons dealing with that terrible quarterback play. Dak Prescott goes. We get Sutton to fall to us. It's an easy pick for me right here. We've now gone back-to-back wide receivers, Cortland Sutton, so now we're out on the top 30 wide receivers. Getting Dak this late was really good. I mean, Dak maybe should have been a consideration more for me at that pick and hoping Sutton falls 4 or 5 more spots to me, because Dak at the end of the 6th round, I mean, that's a guy going often in the 5th round. He's my quarterback too, and you had 4 or 5 quarterbacks going before him. That's really good value for no bozos. Because now no bozos doesn't have to take another quarterback, right? Dak got injured last year, but it's not something you expect re-injury. It was kind of a freak injury. So no bozos doesn't even have to take another quarterback until, I mean, I would clearly take one, but I mean, you could take one in the 14th, 15th round at this point. You can take your stabs on the Justin Fields of the world or the Mac Jones of the world and hope that they get some second half of the season run, cover your bye week, things like that. And yes, I am recording this the day before bye weeks, or actually hours before. Wednesday night is a schedule release, so if we get screwed on some quarterback bye weeks having the same buys, yeah, we're going to lose a week, and we're probably not going to be moving forward, or at least maybe other spots can cover us there, but yeah, it would be kind of brutal. So that's the risk of doing this right now, but it also will be dropping some people's ADBs. I truly believe that. So Herbert goes. Seeing a lot of quarterbacks go now. I will be looking at Jalen Hurts. I'm 2 picks away. If Jalen Hurts falls to me at the 7-4, I will be snagging Jalen Hurts in the 4th round, or the 7th round, because I think it's a really good value spot. He's the only quarterback left in my tier 2. And then we get to my tier 3, which starts at quarterback 9, Matthew Stafford, Matt Ryan, Aaron Jones as of right now. Trey Sermon goes really early for Trey Sermon to go with the 7-2. Again, this guy might be ahead of schedule. Trey Sermon, maybe he gets ruled as the number 1 overall play. I think we're going to get Jalen Hurts here, because the guy before me, we were looking at what he was doing with his team. He ends up he already took a quarterback. So Jalen Hurts falls to me at the 7-4. I like that because if you're looking for guys who have major upside, if everything clicks for them, they get them a new weapon with Devonta Smith. They get a little bit healthier. Dallas Goedert has another year healthier, right? Maybe they even re-sign Zach Ertz. I highly doubt it, but he's a free agent. You like to see what's happening here. They get another pass-catching weapon in Kenneth Gainwell out of the draft as a running back. I like to see Jalen Hurts. They're giving him weapons. They're giving him opportunities now. Offensive line will definitely be healthier than last year. This is the latest quarterback I think that has a massive ceiling. Joe Burrow, maybe. Right, the latest quarterback that I think has a massive ceiling. And maybe I should walk that back with some of the rookies. Latest non-rookie quarterback, second-year player. Because Trey Lance has a massive ceiling, but how quickly does he start? Is it week 1, right? Same thing for Justin Fields. That mobile upside that we saw last year of having the 100-yard upside on the ground takes him to a whole nother level, especially now if he can get some pass-catching chops going in there with Devonta Smith now on this team. James Robinson goes really early. I'm fully out on James Robinson. We talk about that in the video. My running back 34. Will Fuller goes. He was my next available, so that's a good spot there. Juju. So for wide receivers, still on the board. Juju, Deebo Samuel, Jarvis Landry, Curtis Samuel, Brandon Cooks, Jerry Jeudy. These are some names to keep in mind. The best available running back, I believe Chase Edmonds is still on the board. That's where we're at right now. So yeah, I like this start that we're getting right here. Tony Pollard goes to the 7-9. Would have been the only running back I'd consider kind of in this range. We get Jalen Hurts, so I don't got to take a quarterback now for many of rounds. Aaron Jones, Clyde Edwards-Helaire, Myles Gaskin, Allen Robinson, Kenny Galladay, and Cortland Sutton. So no tight end yet, and I need to start to stack some guys, whether it's another quarterback later or at least stacking one player with Jalen Hurts. Now, I don't have to stack with Jalen Hurts. Stacking is just you get more correlation, so it's easier. And normally, top projected things in tournaments, whether it's DFS week to week or whether it's going to be best ball, normally you're going to have like the best upside out of stacks, right? You just have to get less right overall. So stacking is an interesting option. It is something that I try to do. It's something that I do all the time. But when you have a mobile quarterback, you can run them naked sometimes, meaning not any stacks with them. So that might be what I try and do here or opt to do here. We'll have to see. Juju is still on the board, I believe. Yes, Juju is still on the board. You see James Conner come off the board. He's somebody I really didn't have any interest in this early. Tony Pollard comes off the board. That's a fine option, especially for where you get him at. I think that's a really good take on Tony Pollard there. He was in my tier 5, one of the few running backs left in that tier for me. So now we're getting up on my next pick. We're getting pretty close here. I'm looking to start to want to stack this Jalen Hurts. Do we go Devonta Smith this early? Aaron Rodgers just goes. Devonta Smith just goes. I mean, yes, the answer would have been yes to go Devonta Smith. Push up a couple of picks just to take Devonta Smith there, but he goes. It blocks the stack that I wanted on Devonta Smith. Juju Smith-Schuster goes. So yeah, now, I mean, I'm looking at Jarvis Landry, potentially later on stack with Jarvis Landry and a Baker Mayfield. There's no other weapons right now to stack Jalen Hurts, which again, I don't have to since he has a mobile upside that I would want to take right now. Like a Dallas Goedert would be that weapon. It's a pretty early round to be taking Dallas Goedert in my opinion, but he is one of my 2 best tight ends left, but it does ensure the stack. So if Goedert falls one spot, which no Bozos has no tight end, so he might take Goedert here. Let's see. If Goddard falls one spot, I'll take him. And no Bozos does not take Goddard. He takes Jerry Jeudy. Let's take Goddard to ensure the stack. So that's what we're doing here. We're probably taking Goddard maybe a round too early. I don't know if he would have gotten to me there in 4 more picks. As you can see, guys like a couple guys that we're going to draft ahead of me before my next pick have no tight ends. A couple guys have 2 picks and have no tight ends. So there's a chance as being the best tight end left on my board, at least, and on the Underdog ADP custom rankings, average draft position. So we get the Goddard stack with Hurts. That's all I really need to do. I don't think there's any other reasons to stack anybody else on this team now that Devonta Smith is gone. Miles Sanders is gone. There's really not much more. I mean, if you want to get Travis Fulgham in the 18th round and think that he sees a resurgence like last year. But I think Goddard is the main consistent target for PPR upside, half-point PPR upside. I like the way that this draft is slowly coming together now as we're about halfway-ish through with the 9th round starting up here. So some wide receivers I go. Jarvis Landry is still on the board. He's my best available overall player right now. Jerry Jeudy has gone. Hollywood Brown, who I'm very low on, my wide receiver 46, has gone. Some running backs start to go off the board, and Ronald Jones. Michael Carter was a very good option. I assume that Chase Edmonds has already gone off the board since he is still, I must have just missed that. Yeah, Chase Edmonds has already been picked. I still had him on my board. So he's already been picked. We're seeing some other guys go off the board right now. Michael Pittman goes, some second-year players. We'll see if Pittman can get a resurgence, new quarterback. See if Wentz himself can get a resurgence. Logan Thomas goes somewhat early. Tight end. My best tight end right now is Mike Gesicki on my board. I'm on the clock right now. We're looking at running backs. I can probably take one more running back and be done. I might take Leonard Fournette here. I do like that as my 4th overall running back. Pass catching upside. If we take Jalen Waddle, we can make a nice stack with Miami and get Tua later on. Looking at this right now, I think I'm going to take Leonard Fournette and be done. So we get Leonard Fournette in the 9th round. I think that's a fine spot. He was my best available. He's the head of my tier 5, my best available running back, and we can pull up my tiers right now. So you can see right here, I'm kind of checking these off as I go. Leonard Fournette right here was my best available. He starts off tier 5 for me. Now my best available is Zach Moss, A.J. Dillon. So you can see he kind of falls off a cliff right now, whereas at least we know Leonard Fournette's going to get pass catching chops when healthy. We saw that last year. They went to him all the time, even with Ronald Jones banged up somewhat. They went to Leonard Fournette all the time in the postseason. So I'm going to just roll with 4 running backs. And these running backs that I have, I like them. They're guys who are going to see healthy usage in the passing game, especially Aaron Jones, Clyde Edwards-Helaire, Myles Gaskin, and Leonard Fournette. So I'm okay with where I'm at with that right now. Jalen Waddle goes the pick after mine. We still have Jarvis Landry on the board, which we're getting pretty late here with Jarvis Landry to remain on the board. I doubt he gets all the way back to me, but Jarvis Landry is a very strong option, especially to stack him up later on with Baker. So if I'm looking at my positionality right now, and Jarvis Landry finally goes, so there we go. I'm looking to get no more running backs. I'm good with just 4 in the rest of the draft. I have a tight end. I have a wide receiver. Or I have a tight end, then I have a quarterback. I, of course, have many of wide receivers. So now I'm good to just wait for tight end, wait for quarterback. I'm just going to load up right now on wide receivers. I'm going to end up this draft with 2 tight ends, probably 2 quarterbacks and not 3, 4 running backs, and 10 wide receivers. So it's time to just start loading up on the wide receivers at this point. Loading up on high upside wide receivers. Joe Burrow at that spot at the end of the 9th is a really good spot. Matt Ryan, my best available quarterback as it stands right now. So I'm not even going to look at running backs anymore because I don't really care. Wide receivers that I'm looking at. I mean, Corey Davis went, but Darnell Mooney's still on the board. We have guys like Gabriel Davis still on the board. I know Emmanuel Sanders is there, but probably jumps right into an opportunity. A lot of rookies left on the board. Nelson Aguilar is somebody that I'll be looking at. I like Nelson Aguilar a lot. There's tight ends out there that might be the main priorities, but he looks like the main, definitely downfield option for whether it is Mac Jones. And Nelson Aguilar was good not only downfield, but between 15 and 20 yards, whereas Mac Jones kind of thrived, although had great receivers, but still thrived in college there. I'm going to let all these guys start to go off the board. Mike Gesicki finally goes to the 10-5. He's my number 7, I believe, overall tight end. So he was a tier 3 tight end for me, the last guy in tier 3. So that's a good spot to be getting him. Just kind of looking at which wide receivers are going off the board right now. Hardman goes off the board. I'm fine with that. I'm looking at Nelson Aguilar at the end of the 10th. I'm a couple picks away. Liking the way that this $1,001 is going to be handed to me, how this is going right now. Devontae Parker's still on the board. He's fine. He just goes, actually. So Darnell Mooney, Tyler Boyd. I like Darnell Mooney because we already have Allen Robinson. We secured Darnell Mooney here. We get Justin Fields as our quarterback 3 later on. That's a really nice stack. So, yeah, I might go to Darnell Mooney here if he's still going to be on the board. There's murmurs that they might trade Anthony Miller. It seems like Mooney's already ahead of Anthony Miller. Rager is still on the board as well. So Rager's a potential stack option for us. I have Darnell Mooney right now ranked a good bit higher than Jalen Rager, but do we come up to ensure that 3-man stack with Rager and Dallas Goedert? Tom Brady goes, I think I'm going to take Darnell Mooney. I'm going to take Darnell Mooney here. Justin Fields, I'm going to hope that he starts pretty quickly, if not right away. The big trade up for them to get him. They gave up a lot to move up a good amount of spots. So we take Darnell Mooney. We now just have to get Justin Fields at some point in this draft. Otherwise, it's not a complete loss, but we're stacking a team without the quarterback. It's not as high of a ceiling. But if we can get back around to my next pick, which is not that far away, we're like 5 picks away, I'll take Jalen Reagor there to secure that next stack. And we already have it with Dallas Goedert and Jalen Hurts, so it's not terrible, but if we can get Reagor to fall to us, now we're really locked in on some good stacks. Some really good wide receivers left on the board, and Josh Reynolds, who's the wide receiver 2 on his team with no other competition, and Nelson Aguilar, who might be the wide receiver 1 on his team, with John Brown, who's just battling second-year players who both were hurt last year in Bryan Edwards and first-round pick, first overall wide receiver Henry Ruggs out of Bama, but neither of them really produced. So some really good options. Gabriel Davis we discussed. Is Tyler Boyd still on the clock? Has Tyler Boyd fallen this far, right? Jamar Chase really makes him fall this far, huh? So Tyler Boyd actually went. I was going to say, I mean, he's that far. So right now, yeah, I think Jalen Reagor is the move for me to secure this stack. And then, man, we can get triple stacks if we can get Justin Fields. We're probably going to have to jump up a little bit more than we want to for Justin Fields. I assume he's one of the best quarterbacks left on the board right now. There goes Duke Johnson. There goes Gabriel Davis, a good pick there. By Go Bills. A good Bills fan gets Gabriel Davis. What do you know? I'm sure he has a Bills stack if I clicked on his name. We'll see what Go Bills team is looking like. Does he have a Bills stack? He's got Justin Herbert. No, he does not. That was his first Bill taken. So Sal Vetri is on the clock. Jalen Reagor is still available. Easy pick for me. Bang. So we just locked up the triple stack of Philly right there. Feels good. Feels really good. So we're moving through right now, and I need to ensure that we get Justin Fields. So let's see where Justin Fields' ADP is relative. I mean, my rankings on Justin Fields, there's a lot of better quarterbacks available. He's my quarterback 21. Justin Fields is the 4th best quarterback left on the board behind other rookies like Trey Lance and Trevor Lawrence. I am going to be a good amount of picks away. I'm hoping Justin Fields can fall to us. So I'm going to secure Justin Fields, and we already have this guy on the clock right now. No Bozos already has 3 quarterbacks in round 11. I mean, a Bozo himself, if I might say so myself. Trevor Lawrence, maybe that was his 3rd quarterback, unless that's his 4th quarterback. There's no way. There's no way this guy just took a 4th quarterback. No Bozos has 4 quarterbacks. Josh Allen, Dak Prescott. I don't know what he's doing here. I'm going to be honest with you. No Bozos now has 4 quarterbacks. Really not sure what he's doing there. But kind of doesn't ruin my chances, but hurts my chances of getting Justin Fields with another quarterback off the board. Just looking at some of this positionality, Jared's got 2 quarterbacks. The Vault has no quarterback, so there's a really good chance he takes one here. Mr. Carlota has no quarterbacks, a good chance he takes one here. This is kind of making me a little bit worried on Justin Fields. I'm going to be securing him with my 12th round pick just to lock up my 2 quarterbacks. It's early to lock up 2, but it locks up the 2 stacks. So now I'm getting a little bit of a sweat here. So he doesn't go quarterback. The Vault is still going no quarterback there. Mr. Carlota, can we get through Mr. Carlota's back-to-back picks without him taking Justin Fields here? Let's see. The sweat is on. Is this going to say Jay Fields? Because I want to lock up that Allen Robinson, Darnell Mooney, top 2 pass catchers on the team. He takes Latavius Murray. Thank you. He's got 4 running backs, 5 wide receivers, and 2 tight ends. I think he's going to take a quarterback here. Just make it Trey Lance and not Justin Fields. He takes Trey Lance. All right, that makes sense. We're getting closer. Some guys have only 1 quarterback, but now we're through the guys who have 0 quarterbacks. Tannehill's on the clock, or Tannehill's on the board. Kirk Cousins and Tua are. We are getting very, very close. We are 5 picks away. This is a sweat. Where I might be very upset. Everybody ahead of me has 1 quarterback. 1 guy has 4, so we just have to dodge. No Bozos has 4. I don't think he's going to take one. T.Y. Hilton goes. We just have to dodge these next 2 picks from Josh and Jonah. So let's see what happens here. They each have a quarterback, so that's the good thing. If they wanted to wait really late, it's kind of a weird round to take one unless you're trying to secure a stack. Clearly, these guys are not trying to secure Justin Fields. There's a chance I could wait till the 13th if he gets to me at the 12th, but now you're really starting to get risky. So Josh, if we can get through Josh, who has 3 running backs, he takes Justin Fields. Oh, my God. You have got to be kidding me. I don't know who you are, Josh. I do not know who you are, Josh. The one person who could have gotten Justin Fields. We're building a stack with Bears. The one person who could have gotten Justin Fields, because the guy right now on the clock has 4 fucking quarterbacks ready. And he takes Justin. I am sad. I mean, there was $1 million on the line potentially with that one right there. I am very sad. So, I mean, now we just got to go back to taking wide receivers because, man, I built the Darnell Mooney, Allen Robinson stack. Ryan Tannehill goes. I mean, Trey Lance went. I thought it was all going to work out perfectly for us. Nelson Aguilar's on the clock. I mean, taking Nelson Aguilar seemed nice, but now it just seems like a letdown. Nelson Aguilar, Josh Reynolds, these are guys that I think are fine. Elijah Moore's there. I'll take Nelson Aguilar as a downfield option. Man, what a bummer right now for us. Oh, my God. The one guy who could have taken Justin Fields from us. The one guy. The only guy left who could have taken... no Bozos took Ryan Tannehill. So no Bozos has taken 5 quarterbacks in this draft. I don't know what that guy's doing. Maybe he would have just spoiled me and took Justin Fields anyways. So he's just securing all the stacks. Oh, my goodness. So no Bozo literally has 5 quarterbacks. This is brutal. He's got Josh Allen, Dak Prescott, Tom Brady, Trevor Lawrence, and Ryan Tannehill. Oh, man. Well, I guess I'll get another quarterback later on. Let's look at my team and see who I can start to stack quarterback with, I mean, there's a lot of options still. Tua with Myles Gaskin, if I wanted to. Drew Lock with Cortland Sutton. We already got the Eagles stack, which we don't have to go double stack since we got the Eagles stack. Nelson Aguilar with Derek Carr, if we really wanted to. I don't think there's much upside. Or Nelson Aguilar with Cam or Mac Jones. I don't think there's really much upside there, but it is what it is. Man, that's brutal. We watched every guy. We were trying to do all the math on it. Oh, we got through the guys who were taking no quarterbacks. Then, of course, Justin Fields goes the one pick before potentially somebody could have taken him from us. Yeah, I really hate to see that. The pain. The hashtag pain on that one. So T.Y. Hilton is gone. These guys don't really care. Josh Reynolds is still on the board. That's somebody, if we're trying to get through the sorrow of what just happened, that we can look at. Josh Reynolds is still on the board. Henry Ruggs and Bateman went. Bateman's a solid pick for where you got him at. Although in Baltimore, he's actually no, I walk that back. I don't really like Bateman for where he landed in Baltimore in the 11th round. I'm probably not taking him until the 13th or 14th, and he's clearly not going to ever last that long. So now not a lot of wide receivers are going. Terrence Marshall Jr. goes. So, yeah, I mean, in the 13th round, I'm going to be taking, and I'm on the clock right now, so I'm going to be just taking more wide receivers. I mean, let's see. Josh Reynolds is probably the option. What's left at quarterback? Tua is there. Baker's there. Not really enamored. We can probably get Daniel Jones to stack up with Kenny Golladay later on. So I'm going to be going with Josh Reynolds here. Josh Reynolds, the wide receiver 2 on his current team in Tennessee. They did not draft anybody. They signed a couple of undrafted free agents. Actually, did they draft? They might have drafted a wide receiver. But if they did, it was in like the 6th round. Nobody was going to really contest Josh Reynolds. They got 1 or 2 undrafted, I think 2 undrafted free agents. No bozos, 5 quarterbacks. Let's see which quarterback he takes now. I mean, this guy above me right now is just the definition of burning $25. We've got a lot of wide receivers and a lot of top wide receivers, in my opinion. I'm very high on Josh Reynolds since there's no other competition. It's A.J. Brown and Josh Reynolds in the passing game. Even Derrick Henry doesn't catch passes, right? Nobody in the slot. He finally doesn't take a quarterback. He takes Denzel Mims, which really wasn't a terrible pick there. Now looking at some stuff, you're getting value on Jamison Crowder to fall this far because people think he's going to be cut, which there's a good chance, but he's still young. Crowder's still relatively young. So if he goes to another team as a dynamite slot option, I would have said the Packers, but they drafted Amari Rodgers. I mean, Jamison Crowder's age right now, he's 27 years old. I mean, that's the same age as Kenny Golladay, right? He has the same age as Devontae Adams. So he's still young. So if he gets cut, he's going to go somewhere and be a producer. He's been a producer everywhere he's gone with less than stellar quarterback play with Washington and the Jets, like some of the worst quarterback play you can find. I currently am sitting as it stands with, and let's see my exact positionality. I've got 7 receivers, 1 tight end, 1 quarterback, and 4 running backs. So I need 3 more wide receivers, 1 more tight end, and 1 more quarterback. I should probably start to look at my next quarterback. Maybe we reach on Daniel Jones here to secure the Kenny Golladay, Daniel Jones stack. Very upset with the Justin Fields stuff. I'm not going to be taking a quarterback who might only play like 3 or 4 weeks ahead of Justin Fields. I assume Fields starts pretty early. Watson goes in the 13th round. Tight end, I can probably wait on some more. There's still a good amount of tight ends on the board, I believe, at least. Tight end, we have Gronk. Blake Jarwin's a nice tight end option. Everett. Adam Trotman, who I do like. So some nice tight end options still available. Jared Cook. Yeah, these guys are fine. Starting tight ends. Eric Ebron. Mo Alley Cox if you really wanted to go down there. So I think we can start to look at quarterback our next time out because a lot have just gone off the board. 4 quarterbacks in a row go off the board. Daniel Jones seems to be like my best option left, but I think he might go. We're 7 picks away. He might actually go. Outside of that, throwing some darts at guys like Jameis makes sense. Hoping that he can, I mean, if you get a Jameis starting the far majority of the games or all of the games, if that's what happens, I know that's not what the language has been out of the team. It's been more so around Taysom Hill, but if you get that, you're getting Jameis, who should be in the top 10 rounds taken in the end of round 14 where I would get him. But Daniel Jones is the pick for me right now if he falls to us to lock up the quarterback position. Trotman goes. It's a really good pick by Jared at the 14-4. Jared seems to be making some sharp picks here. He ended up getting the Tyreek and Mahomes stack, getting Mahomes in the 4th round, as good of a value as you're going to be finding. So let's see what we continue to get here. A couple of picks away now. Fallbacks to if Daniel Jones goes is probably just secure another quarterback here at this point. Tight end I can go to in my following round and then finish up the draft with some rookie wide receivers or some second years like an Amari Rodgers, who I think I'm going to be a little bit higher on than some other people, like a Kadarius Toney, who honestly, hey, this might be the move. If we can get Daniel Jones here, so I'm getting hyped up again. This is what happened last time, and then Justin Fields was taken. So let's see, as we're 2 picks away. 1 pick away. No Bozos has 5 quarterbacks. Do not take Daniel Jones here. Do not ruin my Kenny Golladay stack and potentially adding Kadarius Toney later on as a full-on Giants stack. Don't do it, no Bozos. You've got 5 quarterbacks. Any other time I'd feel fine about this. This guy taking a 6th quarterback would just ruin that. He's got 5 fucking quarterbacks. Is he just stacking every wide receiver running back with a quarterback? Is that what he's doing? We'll have to see. 7 seconds to not take Daniel Jones allowed me to get 2 stacks going. A lot of upside for this big best ball. And then to get maybe Kadarius Toney, their 1st round pick, who they're clearly going to use whether you like him or not. Let's see who he takes here. Do not take Daniel Jones. He does not take Daniel Jones. We get Daniel Jones. So you know what? We'll take it. We don't get the Justin Fields stack that we wanted. We have 2 Bears now without Justin Fields, which isn't great, but it's kind of like mini stacking. We get Daniel Jones here. We now have secured 2 stacks, right? We now have secured 2 stacks. I pick in a couple more picks. Kadarius Toney is definitely too early to take right now. Do we reach on Kadarius Toney? Actually, you know what? He's not that early to take. He's going right around pick 182, which by my next pick will be 14 full rounds is 170 picks. So I'm reaching, like, based on his ADP right now, I'd be reaching by right around 8 to 10 picks. So, I mean, that wouldn't be there based on my next time around. So we might reach on him if he's still there, of course. Sterling Shepard goes, so that's another giant off the board to stack with. Evan Ingram is already gone. Yeah, I think that getting to Kadarius Toney here makes some sense. They're going to obviously give him opportunity since he was taken in the first round. Short passing game option. I'm not sure how much ceiling upside he has for yards, but we shall see from PPR points, half-point PPR. I need some water. My throat's about to fall apart. So the lovely magic we did of trying to get that Bears stack falls apart one pick before I go. But now maybe we can patch that up with the Giants. I'm going to have to cut these clips up and make it a 2-minute clip because we got killed on the Bears, which you just saw, and now we might get killed on the Giants. We just got Daniel Jones. We have Kenny Golladay. So no matter what, we have a stack there, but we're trying to get Kadarius Toney in the 15th round. In the 15th round is right around where his ADP is going. There's a couple of other wide receivers, Christian Kirk, Traquan Smith, John Brown, Amon-Ra St. Brown from Detroit. A couple other wide receivers going ahead of him. There goes Traquan Smith. Diami Brown. So a lot of rookies are starting to get picked now as we approach the final 3 rounds of the draft. I want Kadarius Toney. We are 1 pick away from the Kadarius Toney. The guy picking ahead of me has 7 wide receivers. Does he take number 8? He takes Kenny Gainwell. We made it. Round of applause. Kadarius Toney, somebody who not a lot of people like, but I don't think there's going to be that many Kadarius Toney stacks with Daniel Jones and Kenny Golladay, just by the nature of how you have to have that working out. You have to probably get Daniel Jones and Kadarius Toney in back-to-back picks. Maybe you can stretch your Kadarius Toney out, but we get Kadarius Toney. We now have secured 2 triple stacks, so I like that. We're going to have 2 Bears players without Justin Fields, which isn't great, but hey, maybe it works out. Maybe those 2 Bears do well. Maybe Justin Fields only plays 7-8 games and only really pops off for 3 of them, but he does enough to supplant each of those individual Bears. Yeah, it doesn't feel great now that we didn't get the stack, but I currently sit now with my quarterbacks filled. I need 1 more tight end. We have 3 picks left in this draft. I need 1 more tight end and then probably shape it out with 2 more wide receivers. So we already got the rookie Kadarius Toney. I like Amari Rodgers if he can fall late to us. I think he ends up being a pretty interesting option as well. A lot of wide receivers are off the board now. I mean, a lot are off the board. John Brown ends up going. Christian Kirk, MVS. Paris Campbell was a really nice pick, ends up going as well. So you're getting a lot of guys off the board. I'm fine with 4 running backs. At this point, there's not a single running back that's exciting to me. So we can start to look at tight end now as I have a lot of picks to go. I've got 8. Actually, the picks are going really quick right now. So when you look at tight end, I can secure my second one. Not a lot of good ones left, so I probably have to secure one. Blake Jarwin goes, who I do like. Jared Cook and Eric Ebron, probably the best starting tight ends left, unless they get Christopher Herndon back involved in this offense. One of those guys should make it to us because we are currently, a lot of guys ahead of me have 2 tight ends already taken. So we're 4 picks away. As long as we can dodge Cook and Ebron going quick, I'll probably get Jared Cook, pair him up. I know Donald Parham's out there, but pair Jared Cook up, the man that they paid, replacing Hunter Henry. Get to pair him up. Oh, Eric Ebron goes. So we have to just dodge no bozos, who already has 1 tight end but not 2. Will he take his second tight end in the pick before me and snipe me? Because there's not that many fallbacks after that. I mean, you're looking at hopefully Donald Parham and hoping that he breaks out, or otherwise there's not much. Like Dan Arnold with Carolina, I don't think they're going to use a tight end all that much. Looking at Harrison Bryant in Cleveland, I don't think he's going to be used individually that much. Mo Ali Cox, they took a tight end in the draft. I don't know how much that'll be involved. So we're hoping to get Jared Cook to fall to us. By far the best tight end available, by far. Here's another option for no bozo to potentially snipe us. He only has 1 tight end, that's the issue, and there's not many good ones left. So if he's even thinking about tight end right now, he can absolutely ruin this position. Christopher Herndon might be my backup at that point, and that's just brutal. So Jared Cook, we're 8 seconds away. He's been letting this clock fall out. I don't even know if this guy's at the wheel anymore. Jared Cook overall, I don't believe is the best player left. Oh no, he is. If he auto picks Jared Cook here, oh no, he's gonna auto pick Jared Cook. He auto picked Jared Cook. Oh my god, he auto picks Jared Cook there. Brutal. I could take Tariq Cohen as a 5th running back. It doesn't feel great. Chris Herndon at this point's not good. Amon-Ra St. Brown's on the clock. That's a good option here this late. I think the answer is probably going to be Amon-Ra St. Brown for me, another rookie. We'll just kind of end this one out. There's not a lot of battle in Detroit. Man, we just got sniped by an auto pick guy. A guy who has 5 fucking quarterbacks right now. Chuba Hubbard goes. It's a nice pick there. So I pick in a couple more picks. I still need a tight end. There's none left. Pat Freiermuth with a rookie. I don't know how much upside we see there. O.J. Howard with 3 tight ends on the roster still behind Gronk. Don't know how much we see there. Herndon's still on the clock. Did nothing last year. Does a new coaching staff get Herndon involved? You're coming from Salas, who's a defensive coordinator, right? We can't really say he did much for Kittle. He wasn't even on the same side of the board as Kittle. Donald Parham, who I don't think we can say much. I think I got to go Chris Herndon here as long as he doesn't get taken by some. Yeah, okay. So we're going to go Chris Herndon in the 17th round. Man, the Jared Cook drop off to Chris Herndon. Last year, I would have loved more Chris Herndon. I had him ranked higher, but he did nothing last year. But maybe no Adam Gase now. changes some of that stuff for us. So we got one pick left, and I'm going to go with a wide receiver here. So we've been sniped twice for Justin Fields and for Jared Cook. Herndon, it's a pretty far chop off of Jared Cook, right? You're playing with a rookie, Zach Wilson. Maybe they get Herndon involved more. Hopefully he can become one of the favorite targets of Zach Wilson. Wouldn't be terrible. So now we're looking for wide receiver to end this one off. We just took back-to-back rookie wide receivers, one Kadarius Toney to finish a stack. I'm looking at Amari Rodgers. I also don't hate Dwayne Eskridge. Dwayne Eskridge in Seattle now was taken with some pretty high draft capital in the second round. Would be the wide receiver 3 there, but they run a lot of 3 wide receiver sets. David Moore 2 times last year would have actually probably been enough to get you into some best ball winning lineups. So with your 18th pick, that's what you're looking for. So a lot of picks to go here. Just basically going to take the best available wide receiver. We're going to finish up our roster construction as we go through this. The roster construction is going to be 2 quarterbacks who both have triple stacks. So we like that. We're going to go with 4 running backs, so we took relatively early. We went back-to-back running back early in 3 of our first 4 picks running backs. Then we got Fournette in the middle rounds, the early middle rounds. A lot of tight ends going off the board right now. Donald Parham, Hayden Hurst, not the greatest of options. Then we ended up going out there and getting 2 tight ends. We like our first one, Dallas Goedert. We took him relatively early to stack up with Jalen Hurts. And then we wanted to get Jared Cook there, right? No stack, but just better quarterback than Justin Herbert. We get Christopher Herndon, who is a starting tight end and showed a lot of promise, one of the best yards per reception and yard per route run rookie tight ends of all time actually. Then got hurt his second year, then got hurt last year yet again, and was kind of just put under the terrible Jets offense of Sam Darnold and Adam Gase, so not great. No wide receivers are going in this 18th round. I mean, Tyrell Williams with Detroit, who I think Amon-Ra St. Brown is probably going to play over, honestly. There's not a big contract given to Tyrell Williams. Has only really been good 1 year in his career on the outside, caught a couple touchdowns, more than a couple. But for the Chargers that year, that's basically been it. Did really nothing with the big contract, got hurt early on with Las Vegas. So I think we might actually get Amari Rodgers to fall to us, maybe, right? We see some guys going, KJ Hamler. Amari Rodgers is the best available wide receiver on my board and on the board right now on Underdog, so I wouldn't doubt it if he goes. The backup there would be Dwayne Eskridge. We'll finish it off either way with 3 rookie wide receivers. A lot of guys on the clock ahead of me already have 7 or 8 wide receivers. I assume a lot of these guys will kind of close it out with a wide receiver, so my guess is Amari Rodgers goes. If he doesn't go, I do think he'll probably go in these next 6 picks, hoping that Dwayne Eskridge doesn't, though, so we can kind of close it out with something nice there. Otherwise, not many wide receivers left, like Dez Fitzpatrick, maybe. Van Jefferson goes. I mean, that's a brutal pick. I mean, Jared, I was saying how sharp he was. He takes Van Jefferson, who's just done on that team. They just drafted Tutu Atwell. They have Deshaun Jackson, right? I mean, Van Jefferson is done on that team. And he takes him over Dwayne Eskridge and Amari Rodgers. So I'm 1 pick away. Amari Rodgers is on the clock. I'm expecting no bozos to absolutely snipe me yet again here. I'm actually literally expecting this now. So I mean, this guy is taking 5 quarterbacks, 6 running backs, 4 wide receivers, and 2 tight ends. Just an absolutely brutal lineup construction right now for no bozos. I'm going to screenshot this so that I can, I think he's just auto drafting at this point, but I'm going to screenshot that just to kind of post that out there. I was sniped by this man 2 times on quarterbacks. He's going to probably take Amari Rodgers here. We get auto-picked Amari Rodgers. This is just brutal. Last pick of the draft now. I mean, Amari Rodgers was the best rookie available. I mean, Dez Fitzpatrick by Tennessee, not really where I'm trying to go. Cornell Powell by KC. Byron Pringle by KC gets re-signed, but not much there. Anthony Schwartz in Cleveland. Tutu Atwell gets the early draft capital. Maybe he goes somewhere, or earlier draft capital. Just go with Tutu Atwell. I don't think he's really going to succeed. Actually, you know what? I really don't think he's going to succeed. Let's go with Anthony Schwartz, a later round pick for Cleveland. That's where we're at right now. So we get sniped twice by the guy who has the worst draft construction and get auto pick sniped in the last 2 picks of Jared Cook and Amari Rodgers. Brutal, but we got a good squad overall. 2 triple stacks, 2 quarterbacks, 2 tight ends, 10 wide receivers. We go with a couple of 3 rookies in a row to end it out. Would have loved to get Amari Rodgers over that last pick of Anthony Schwartz, but what are you going to do? Thank you for tuning in today. Amari Rodgers is actually going to be involved. The Packers don't take day 2 wide receivers often. I mean, Devontae Adams, Jordy Nelson, Randall Cobb, those are some of the day 2 wide receivers they've taken. I think the only ones they've taken in the last 5 to 10 years. And boy, oh boy, have they done. Never taken a day 1 wide receiver first round pick, but man, have they done well. So thank you for tuning in. Underdog Fantasy. If you want to sign up, you want to draft with me here, or just try and win $1 million on your own and not draft with me, linked down below. Use the code SAL when you sign up. Be sure to let them know you came from me. And also, if you want to be using the rankings that I use, the tiers that I use throughout this one right here, makes it really nice and easy to kind of just check off as you go. These bad boys right here, the tiers as we go through this, you can see. You can make them bigger if you want to, obviously, on your end. The tiers, the rankings, the top 200 is also a really nice tool to be drafting with. You can check it out on the draft guide down below. It's going to actually, thanks to Prize Picks, the sponsor of the draft guide, it's going to be free. It'll actually be a free add-on if you sign up with them. There's a whole description of how you can get that link down below, a video of me explaining it. Thank you for tuning in. You all rock. We'll see you in the next one. These weekly best balls are a ton of fun and add some stress when you get sniped. But thank you so much in advance. I'll see you all in the next one.